Total Physical Response by Tessa Fasani, Rachel Tryon, Maddie Gibbs, and Meredith Bennett. What we know. Gestures enhance learning and language output. English language learners benefit from comprehensible and augmented input. What we want to know. How to implement strategies to support ESOL professionals and how to modify strategies for use by SLPs. What we learned. Aided input during second language acquisition ensures comprehension is meaningful. Repeated exposure to language is necessary, and multimodal input is very important. Comprehension is a key factor in language acquisition.
Total Physical Response, also known as TPR, was developed by Dr. James Asher in the 1960s. This approach has similarities to L1 acquisition, in that the brain has a biological pattern for acquiring any language. For example, infants learning their first language. They respond physically in response to parents speaking to them, as in turning, looking, and smiling at them. A linguistic map is then created as they internalize these sounds and the patterns of the language. Research has shown that comprehension of language always comes before speaking, and this technique is typically used as an ESOL strategy.
Now I know you're all thinking, how would I implement this protocol? First, as a leader, you would create a list of commands that can physically be performed. They should be one word, such as stand, sit, or run. After about 30 minutes of instruction with these, usually mastery is attained. Then you could increase the complexity of the command by adding a phrase such as to the door, so run to the door, or take a pencil and write your name. The leader first models the command before the students perform. At this point, the students are only supposed to concentrate on comprehending the message and listening.
After the leader performs the commands, the students are encouraged to perform the commands with the leader. Then the students are encouraged to perform the commands without the visual model provided by the leader. It's important to review all commands in random order to ensure that comprehension has been established. If at any time the commands are performed incorrectly, the leader can perform the command again to provide extra visual support. It's important to recycle language and review the commands extensively to ensure that repeated exposure to the language is utilized. The leader can also utilize visual and written supports to provide extra aided input when performing the commands.
Now we're going to demonstrate total physical response with a group of children. During this demonstration, we start off first with simple commands and then work our way up to more complex commands upon mastery of the simpler ones. It's important to note that this method, this technique, is built for success, so you need to tailor your commands, your instruction, based off of the feedback of your children. If one isn't getting it, you can slow down. You can foster success through this program. Children should not be discouraged from looking at each other for cues as to what they should be doing during each command.
Sit, stand, sit, stand, sit, stand, sit, stand, sit.
Now we have examples of more complex commands. The students have already mastered pointing and clapping on their own, so now we will make it more complex.
I'm going to model some more actions. I want you to follow what I do. You do not need to say the words that I say, just follow the actions that I'm doing. Point to the door. 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 Let's try another one. Clap your hands 3 times. Clap your hands 3 times. Clap your hands 3 times. Clap your hands 3 times.
a modified version. With this version, the students have already done a great job with their comprehension, and now they're allowed to speak with the teacher while they do the action. It should also be noted that this could be a nice break in an ESOL classroom because the students really enjoy this being presented in storybook format.
Okay, class, today we're going to go on a hike. Let's go on a hike. 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 Now we need to look for berries. Look for berries. Look. Look. We found them. Let's pick the berries. Pick. 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 Now we need to go back home. Let's hike home. Hike. 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 Yay, we're home. Now we're home. Let's eat the berries. Eat. 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 Okay, let's do the story all together one more time. We're going on a hike. 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 Now we need to look for berries. Look. 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 We found them. Let's pick the berries. Pick. 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 Now let's hike home. Hike. 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 I made it home. Let's eat the berries. Eat. Eat. Eat.
Strengths of the Total Physical Response Technique. TPR provides students with a minimal stress environment. It can supplement language learning during the silent period. TPR follows the pattern of typical language acquisition. It stresses listening comprehension first, before the student is required to speak the foreign language. TPR provides immediate success with language. Students are provided with positive feedback. Students are encouraged to watch each other during TPR. Multimodal input is also encouraged.
Asher conducted 21 experiments to discover factors associated with ensuring maximal learning potential. Among these findings, one of the most important was that each student needed to perform the motor acts during the retention tasks in order to have successful results. Additionally, when listening and speaking were targeted simultaneously, the comprehension of the language significantly decreased. So, it was a lot more beneficial for the students just to listen first and attain a type of perceptual readiness prior to making the foreign utterances. An instant understanding of the target language was acquired with this program regardless of the student's academic aptitude. They may not be achieving success in school, but this program does provide them with some success and an increased sense of confidence.
Now we'll discuss how an SLP can implement total physical response. The SLP can educate classroom teachers, parents, and other communicative partners on effectiveness of strategies within total physical response. Modifications can be made to target other modalities as well. One can increase the use of gestures, provide aided input through pictures, props, and other manipulatives, or utilize written support. And now we'll discuss a modified lesson plan that could be used with a group of children using TPR. So first, you would start with a warm-up, which would be a review of the total physical response gestures. You could prepare picture cards, and for this lesson plan, we incorporate a puppet throughout some of the activities. Picture card 1 has Tuppy, the puppet. Picture card 2 has a boy. 3, a girl. And for this task in the warm-up, you would be using picture cards 1, 2, and 3. You would practice total physical response with the children using the picture cards 2 and 3, and give the command sit down by using the picture cards as prompt for who must do it, the boys or the girls. And you could also add the Tuppy picture card for fun. Neither boys nor girls would move from their position using this card. Then, to the introduction, you could call 4 or 5 children to the front of the class. Practice the commands stand up, sit down, and line up using the picture cards as prompts. For 2 minutes after that, you could do TPR with the whole group, practicing the commands stand up, sit down, and line up using the picture cards as prompts. For a more fun activity, you can vary the speed of the commands, and you can also call on individual children to do the actions. Now for the lesson body, during which we practice total physical response, you could divide the group into 2 teams. Hold up the picture cards, stand up, sit down, and line up to give an instruction and have each team respond. By turns, let one team give an instruction and the other team respond to the instruction. Next, place chairs in a circle and have children stand in the middle. Play music and have children dance. Stop the music and give one of the instructions, stand up, sit down, or line up, and then set a challenge. For example, the first child to sit down each time wins a star or a point. Next, using a big book, you can ask questions about the pictures in the book, such as, who is it? Is he or she a boy, a girl, a teacher? How many boys or girls are there? And what can they do? During this activity, you would elicit answers from the class that have to do with the commands that they've learned. To wrap up, you could use the Tuppy Puppet to play a game of Tuppy Says. This game is similar to Simon Says in that children must do all the instructions said, but only if the instruction is preceded by Tuppy Says. Practice the target language from the unit. Stand up, sit down, and line up. You can instruct 2 or 3 children at a time. Another activity would be where you ask a question about a picture using your big book. What are the children playing? Elicit answers from the group. Then read the first part of the story. After listening to the story, have the children point to the scene in the big book, for example, where the children are doing one of the learned commands, such as sitting down. Next, you can ask a question about a different picture after reading the rest of the story. You have children do actions as they listen to the story. And then after the story, ask children to make, for example, the noise a train would make if this book were to have trains. Have children say the target language would be a next example of a task. You give them a written model, such as stand up, sit down, or line up, and point out to children that using the word please can make an instruction sound more polite. For example, stand up please. You can then play an audio clip to have children listen to model dialogue. And you can alternate the target language between boys and girls for more practice. And these are just some examples of how you could modify activities and modify total physical response for a group of children.
Feel free to peruse our references for more information.
2, 1.
Okay, class.
Now we're going to
Model some actions. I want you to follow what I do. You do not need to say the words that I say, just do the actions. Sit, stand. Sit, stand. Stop laughing. And you're supposed to do it.
Oh, I thought you said now join me.
I'm going to model some actions. I want you to follow what I do. There's no need to say what I say, just do the same actions as I do. Sit, stand. Sit, stand. Sit, stand. Sit.
Sit.
There's no need to speak, Maddie. Why did you say that? I'm going to model some actions. I want you to follow what I do. You don't need to say the words that I say, just do the actions that I'm doing. Sit, stand. Sit, stand. Sit, stand. Sit, stand. Sit, stand.
Now here we have examples of more complex commands. The children
All right, class. Today we're going on a hike. We're going on a hike.
Worst teacher ever.
Ready?
I said action.
Alright, class, today we're going on a hike. Go on a hike. 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 Yay, we're